Richard Marx's journey through the highs of 80s and 90s rock stardom is the stuff of legend. Sold-out arenas, MTV rotations, and a string of hits that defined an era. Yet, amid the adulation, one aspect of fame that many peers succumbed to left him utterly unmoved: the groupies. In a revealing exclusive interview, the Grammy-winning singer-songwriter behind timeless ballads like Right Here Waiting opened up about why the sea of amorous fans never tempted him, even at the peak of his celebrity. Of course, he encountered groupies, Marx admitted candidly, but they weren't really much of a trapping for me back then. His resistance wasn't born from asceticism or disdain. It stemmed from a grounded self-awareness and unwavering loyalty, painting a portrait of a star who navigated superstardom with remarkable integrity. At the heart of Marx's story is his early relationship with Cynthia Rhodes, the electrifying dancer and actress from the iconic film Dirty Dancing. They met in the whirlwind of the music industry, and by the time fame catapulted Marx into the stratosphere, their bond was already solidifying into something profound. "I was already dating the woman who would become my first wife," he shared, reflecting on Rhodes with fondness. Together for nearly 30 years until their 2014 divorce, their partnership was a rock in the storm of touring schedules and screaming crowds. Marx didn't view the groupies as conquests. To him, they were a distraction from the real connection he cherished. "I didn't want to be a douchebag," he said plainly, his humor cutting through the glamour. This ethos, fidelity amid temptation, set him apart in an industry rife with tales of excess, from hotel room escapades to backstage debauchery. But Marx's restraint went deeper, rooted in a high school-era insecurity that fame couldn't fully erase. "It was a little easier for me to resist because I had this sense of, I was still the guy in high school who couldn't get a date," he confessed, his voice carrying the weight of those awkward adolescent memories. Overnight success with his 1987 self-titled debut album, featuring smashes like Should've Known Better and Endless Summer Nights, thrust him from Chicago obscurity to global icon. Suddenly, MTV's heavy rotation of his videos meant girls who once ignored him were now clamoring at stage doors. "All of a sudden, overnight, I have a big video on MTV and now all these girls are throwing themselves at me," he recalled. Yet, instead of basking in the validation, Marx saw through the illusion. "So I think it helped keep a level head on my shoulder and a pretty good relationship with that whole seduction of thinking that you're something you're not," he explained. It was a psychological anchor, turning potential ego traps into lessons in humility. This mindset wasn't unique to Marx but rare in rock's golden age, an era when excess was the norm. Think of the 80s hair metal scene. Bands like Motley Crue chronicling their exploits in tell-all memoirs, or even balladeers like Bryan Adams facing similar sirens. Groupies were part of the mythology, symbols of untethered freedom that often led to personal wreckage, broken marriages, addictions, regrets. Marx, however, flipped the script. His career, spanning over 4 decades, boasts sales exceeding 30 million albums worldwide, collaborations with giants like Lionel Richie and NSYNC, and a Songwriters Hall of Fame induction. Yet, he's remembered not for scandals but substance, penning heartfelt lyrics that resonated with romantics everywhere. Right Here Waiting, released in 1989, encapsulates this authenticity. Written as a love letter to Rhodes while he toured Japan, it became a global anthem, topping charts in multiple countries and earning a Grammy nod. Lines like, "Wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be right here waiting for you" weren't contrived, they were lived. Marx's discography weaves similar threads: vulnerability in Now and Forever, passion in Hazard. Post-divorce, he found love again with Argentine Daisy Fuentes in 2015, a union that thrives on mutual respect. Their Instagram feeds brim with travel adventures and quiet joys, a far cry from rock's wild tales. Reflecting on fame's double edge, Marx's story illuminates its psychological toll. The sudden shift from invisible to idol can warp self-perception, breeding imposter syndrome or arrogance. Marx credits his groundedness to family, son of 50s crooner Dick Marx, and early hustles writing jingles before breaking big. By 21 he'd penned Chicago's Baby What a Big Surprise, honing his craft sans spotlight. When stardom hit, he was prepared, viewing groupies not as perks but pitfalls. "The same girls that didn't look twice at me 2 weeks ago," he quipped, disarming the allure with perspective. Today, at 62, Marx tours relentlessly, blending classics with new material like his 2022 album, Beautiful Goodbye. Father to 3 sons, Jesse, Lucas, and Noah, he mentors them on fame's illusions, emphasizing character over conquests. His narrative challenges the rock cliché, proving temptation resisted builds stronger legacies. In an age of #MeToo reckonings, Marx's no douchebag rule feels prescient, a blueprint for ethical artistry. Broader, his insights speak to fame's evolution. Social media amplifies access but erodes mystery. Today's stars face 24/7 scrutiny, making boundaries harder. Yet, Marx's era lessons endure. Stay true, cherish real bonds, laugh at the absurdity. Groupies faded, but his music and morals endure, awaiting promise fulfilled.